Okay, that is going. So I briefly first want to touch upon what we will be discussing today and updates that we will be sharing. So in the agenda that we briefly mentioned, a few topics for today, we will mainly be focusing on updates that I think are quite crucial for all of us, as there are a lot of upcoming events and information that might be a little bit confusing at this point. So I think it's good that we take some proper time to go through them and also give the possibility to ask questions, as I know some of it might be a little bit difficult to get a hold. Okay, I see Anna Margarita is saying she can't hear me. Is that the case for everybody, or can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Yes, you can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Then, Anna Margarita, I'm not sure why it's not working on your end, but I hope you find a solution. So indeed, for today, what we will first of all focus on is, of course, looking at the next EURAXESS BHO meeting taking place on the 18th of June. So as you have already received the link for the registration, or the initial registration, and based on this, okay, sorry, I'm reading the message at the same time. And based on these registrations that most of you, I think, have sent me by now, we'll be able to then send you official invitations from the European Commission, which in turn will enable you to apply for the reimbursements later. As you have seen in this year's registration form, and as you are well aware, last year I know that quite a few of you encountered issues when it came to dealing with AGM. So this year we have really done our absolute best to be as prepared as we can be for the problems that you encountered last year. So as you saw in the registration form, we have asked which way you would prefer to be reimbursed. So indeed, either by registering as private experts, individuals with no mention of your organization, you will simply be invited as representative of EURAXESS as a whole. And the other option is then that your organization pays. And if your organization is a public body, this might in turn mean that there has some consequences in terms of what you're able to be reimbursed for. But I know it's a little bit of a gray zone, what is considered a public body and what is not, but this is something that we're also sorting out. So at this point, I would already give you the option to ask questions if there are any questions at this point already, as I suspect there might be. So please go ahead and raise your voice. Siri, I see you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you so much for this. I assume that you do not have much influence on the timeline of the AGM, do you?
No, not per se. So the process is basically that as soon as we have all of your registrations, we'll be able to provide those to AGM, and the official invitation will be sent out. So the official invitation, you will receive it at the start of next week.
Okay. The AGM one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So start of next week sounds very well. Because I see that from these far corners, the ticket price difference between the weeks is so huge that it's unbelievably big difference how early you announce it. So that's why I was. Thank you. Next week is.
This is absolutely a matter that makes things tricky, as it is so difficult to really well on time send out the invitations, as there are so many factors to take into account just when the procedures involved. So absolutely understandable when it comes to booking anything also in Brussels with a short notice. It makes it quite tricky to stick to the eligible.
So thank you.
Yeah, doing our best, but indeed next week you will have the invitation. Any other questions? I saw Carla had a question about the online participant. This is a good point, Carla, and absolutely we can extend it for online participants, as this is not as crucial. However, something to note is that even though it's an online participation, AGM still needs this information. So even the online participants will be registered as participants in the meeting. It's a procedure. It's something that is needed on the AGM side as well. Whoever raised their hands, please raise your voice. I currently can't see them, sorry.
Yeah, I think that was me. I was just wondering, will it take place at a hotel as normal so that we can book our place?
No, the meeting itself, like last year, it will take place in the Orban building. So it will be in our...
I wasn't here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So indeed, we'll be hopefully on the 11th floor of our building, a much nicer meeting room than the one we had last year. So some improvements there. Thanks for the question.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Anna Margarita.
I'm sorry. In fact, it was my problem in terms of sound. I tried this morning to register in the meeting and I didn't manage to. It was really difficult I couldn't make it. I couldn't even...
Okay. I think it might be as I set the timeline for 12 o'clock today, actually. So, but I will extend it as soon as this meeting is over, so you can submit the registration.
Okay. It was technical problems. I don't understand exactly what happened.
Okay.
I hope I can make it.
You can have a look at it. I'll let you know when it is extended, so you can add your registration, and then hopefully it will work after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else at this point? I don't see any other hands, so thank you for the questions. And indeed, any additional questions, of course, you can email me and I'll try to respond as soon as possible.
Yes. Yes, Vera, my hand is raising. So I was waiting for people if they want to ask about if there's going to be a kickoff meeting after the BHO meeting. So now that I see Slaven here, I didn't want to raise the issue before he was in the he was present. So the idea is we haven't sent you yet the agenda of a kickoff meeting, but the idea is that yes, there is a kickoff meeting for I mean, all BHOs are invited. There will be the kickoff meeting will be from 9 to 1 with lunch until 2 on Friday 19th of the next date of the BHO meeting. So for those who are in Brussels, you are more than welcome to come, even if you are not BHO beneficiaries, but arrangements with the Commission, and still we are sorting this out. So maybe you have news there if it's going to be covered by Commission or
So indeed, so I think that's very good that we are merging on one hand the BHO meeting on Thursday and then a kickoff meeting on Friday morning, Brussels. So of course it's a good opportunity also to save money and CO2. So what is going to be the arrangement is that everybody who comes to the BHO meeting on Thursday, the Commission will cover your travel accommodation, your travel costs, and if you are eligible for accommodation, because there are some rules about it, depends on who you represent. If you are eligible for accommodation, you'll be eligible for one night. If you want to, so for example, if you are staying from Thursday to Friday, so you could stay on Friday for the kickoff meeting. Your Friday afternoon flight will be paid by the European Commission, but your night from Thursday to Friday will be paid retroactively from the project. And I think this is a very good news for the project because like this, from the project, we are only using this one night of accommodation in Brussels without having to maybe have for 2 nights and the flight. So I think there's a saving for the project. So that would be the approach. After the survey has been completed, when you receive the invitation letter, then this will be mentioned what your rights are, and we will then also mention there in case you are staying, the accommodation for Thursday to Friday will be covered by the project.
Okay. Any other?
Thanks for the just to follow up is just to make sure so tomorrow you will receive the BHO the kickoff meeting preliminary agenda, so you will know the main cover, the hours, and so you have it on text. So we will send a message to all BHOs through the email, so everything is clear. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Elisa. Okay, any other questions on this before we move on? Don't see any other hands, I think. So just to again give you a brief overview of what this meeting will consist of is, as you are already aware, we have our IT team back now as well. It looks a little bit different than it did in the previous year. So with the exception of one of the IT developers, most of our team members are actually new. And we have some additional roles as well, which we'll be looking at more today. But I also wanted to briefly mention, just as it's good for you also to have an awareness of what's going on from an IT perspective, and to maybe ask why certain developments haven't happened yet and what we are focusing on at the moment. So as we have already briefly mentioned, is that the focus for the upcoming months and for this year in general is very much focusing on the core functionalities of the portal. So what we are looking at very much is some reoccurring issues, of course, like some outside of Europe users are experiencing filter and EU login issues, which we find very crucial to tackle as soon as possible. And as many of you will be happy about, we are in the process of now removing the double login. So there will only be one option to log into EURAXESS, so no more of this confusion. Where should I be filling in my password and username and so on? So everything will be done through EU login. And we expect this to be a bit of a transition period in a way when people are used to logging in a certain way, but there will be a small text, of course, indicating what has happened and what they need to do at this point. So this is something I think we all welcome, and I see the applause. So that's a major thing that will happen in the coming week, actually, already. Another aspect is that there has been a requirement from Digit asking us to add an unsubscribe option when it comes to the emails users receive based on their saved searches and favorites. So there will now be the possibility in every email that is sent out to click a link and then further specify which emails you would like to receive and which ones you wish to unsubscribe for. So this is something that also will be added in the next weeks. From a sort of more midterm perspective, as already mentioned, the core functionalities are really at focus. But another thing that also has been discussed with BHOs are the more structural challenges when it comes to specifically organization admins / HR excellence and research admins, and the fact that it's quite hard to find some sort of a consistency when it comes to one admin leaving and the next one needing to step in. So we are looking at whether it would be possible to enforce something that would require the organization actually to always have a person in place when it comes to the admin position specifically. So this is something we deem as quite crucial as well. And there are more elements to these sort of structural challenges as well that we will be tackling and we'll be talking about more at a later stage.
Maybe about Drupal, change the new Drupal?
In terms of security or...
So there are some, every now and then, there is a new Drupal being released. I think now it's Drupal 11 or 12. Sometime, or?
I think it's 11.
11. So I'm sure we remember the Drupal migration from 7 to 9 in 2023. This year we had a lot of issues. From 9 to 10, I don't think anybody noticed it. And now we're going from 10 to 11. And we do not foresee significant changes. This is being done in different stages. But this might also give us a bit of a possibility to explore new features. So it is a little bit like when you have your new iOS or Android upgraded to a new version. Sometimes there are new bells and whistles that come with it and that can be useful, either in terms of new features or perhaps design options. So we are currently looking into this. This is going to take some time. This is still a relatively major release, but it might also trigger new possibilities about what can be done on European or national portals.
Indeed. And of course, another element I know a lot of you are waiting for and expecting are the changes in extranet. This is something that, you know, we've made many surveys, asked for your opinions, and it is quite clear to us specifically and practically what needs to change. So this is also something that we will be looking at in the coming months, starting with the emailer, as we deem that to be something that is very, very frequently used, and changes there would really have an impact on the work that we do. So that is a definite priority as well. Another thing to mention is the performance assessment tool. As you have noticed, you haven't received an invitation to start the reporting period for this year yet. And the reason for that is, of course, that there's quite a large technical element involved in that, and it also needs to feature a deployment, so it takes some time to get it started. And as we have our team back since quite recently, we haven't been able to start it yet. But this is also something you'll be receiving more information about at the end of next week, when we'll be opening the reporting period again. And then, as we touched upon the IT elements, we are very happy today to have with us Annie, who is a new feature and a new person in our IT/communications team. Annie is from Netcompany also, and she is a very, very professional social media expert who brings us a lot of skills and needed creativity for this role. And we are very happy to hear from her today. And Annie, I would ask you to briefly present yourself and what you will be doing in your role with EURAXESS specifically.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hi everyone. Nice to meeting you. So thank you Vera for the introduction. I am Annie, and I recently joined EURAXESS from Netcompany as a social media manager. Very exciting, and for the foreseeable future, I will be working on developing EURAXESS social media presence and helping how we communicating the platform's opportunities, services, and any other initiatives across our social media channels. And I'm also looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annie. And I know that you will be hearing more from her in the future as well. She's a prominent part of our team. And you might have already seen, of course, on LinkedIn and Facebook, the sudden upgrade of posts and creativity. So we are very happy to already see the social media posts being so present and prevalent. So moving forward as well, Annie's role will, of course, grow as she learns or as she experiences the whole EURAXESS environment and all that it consists of more. So, of course, we'll be happy also to include her more in future meetings.
Perhaps just so I think this really shows that we are becoming more serious about communication. In the past, we had definitely the human resources element where we want to do communication, but as Vera is doing with me on other things, communication is sometimes that comes towards the end. And so this really shows that we are serious about communication, but I also want to stress is, so if you have some questions, some ideas for communication, please involve us, but always go through Vera. So always go to Vera. You can CC Annie, but I think it's because we are still in a situation where there's much more demand for Annie's time and energy than there is supply. And so it is very important that Vera, as the main coordinator of this, is always approached first, and then the next steps will be identified. So yeah, just a quick point on that.
Yes. I would, if anybody has any questions about this, we of course open for questions as well in terms of Annie and her role. So please go ahead and raise your hand if there's anybody who wants to ask something.
Yes, I raised my
hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay, but welcome, Annie. I'm really glad to have you now. And just to better understand, is there kind of a vision and a communication plan that you already have in place? Because it's nice, huh, that you ask for our opinion, and we'll for sure use this opportunity to share ideas. But maybe there is already some vision that you have, the way how you decline all this, how you break it down, I mean, to the core next steps of promoting it, under which angle, maybe also what is permitted, what is not, because the way we communicate in our own networks about EURAXESS should be somehow coherent to what like the main EURAXESS channel wants to reflect about EURAXESS. And that's why I'm asking if there is some paper, some just broad guidelines we could maybe take a look at. Thanks. Huh?
Not yet, I would say, and also, I mean, it would be a bit wrong to, on the first day of first month of ANI, say already develop communication strategies. I think communication strategy needs to be developed by playing a little bit with EURAXESS. It is a complex initiative. I think everybody who is around understands it like it's, you know, like it's your pocket. But it can be quite complicated, because when you just look at the European portal, it is also not just where I myself. We also have our communication team, all the complexity, the IT stringency things, the narrative, and then of course you have the richness of the national portal. So the first step is very much Annie is exploring this complex environment. She is already posting, she is drafting some things. I think that's a good, there's no better way to get accustomed to something. And then of course, when you are playing with something, you also see what works, what doesn't. And I think only when you know that, then you can have a communication plan which is realistic and has the right angle, because otherwise it's going to be a very theoretical communication plan from the books, which may not always be applicable for this concrete case. So I would say, I don't know when, but it should be, I mean, we need to structure these things a bit more, definitely.
So actually, you're now waiting for ideas. Yeah, for our ideas. So it's not you who starts with propositions, but we can just come in and share something. D'accord?
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Alianor. Annie, did you want to add something?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Slaven, of course, and Eleonor for the questions. And I also want to add that our strategy, of course, will be dynamic. We will be adapting, we will be testing everything, see what works, find our voice on social media. And yes, we will take it from there, I think.
Thank you, Annie. Any other questions? Sorry, Magdalena, I saw your voice raised, but maybe it was a mistake. Okay, she disappeared. Okay, thank you very much, Annie. Thank you for joining us, introducing yourself. I think now I will hand over to Slaven for some.
So a couple of policy updates. I would say the world has not changed since the last month, but I think it's very good that we are staying in touch. And this time I'll take a little bit more for policy updates, because we will not have, I think, large presentations today. Like last time, you had the presentation of my colleague Tudor on this study about retention. Then during the BHO meetings, you're going to hear more about HR Excellence Research Awards, the whole PPMI collaboration, update about the structural policy on research careers. I think now we have a little bit more time, and also take this opportunity to not just kind of fire the updates towards you, but also to see if you have any questions. Now, in this house, DGRTD, there is, I would say, there are three main topics: FP10, ERA Act, EI Act, the Innovation Act. On the FP10, what has changed since a month ago has been very much that we have received a lot of amendments from the European Parliament. Initially, we just received the amendments from MEP Eller and a couple of MEPs around him. Now we have received more than 1,000 suggestions for amendments, and to distill what does this mean for research careers in general. So most of the amendments did actually not. We do see that research career topic, and as a reminder, how it currently stands, or how it also stands in the proposal of the Commission, EFP10, we're going to maintain this approach of different pillars, like we have now on the current Horizon Europe. But the fourth pillar will be very much about widening research at the infrastructure technologies, research and technology infrastructures, and research careers. And I think this is very good. Having of course, as we work on research careers, we all want to see our files being featured more prominently, and to be part of a significant pillar. I think that is reassuring. Now, from the amendments that we got from the European Parliament, what is also reassuring, there hasn't been much critique on this. Neither on the importance of research careers we have put in our proposal, neither that it should not be in the fourth pillar, neither on potential budgets. Right. So I think this is good. What did receive quite a lot of attention from regarding the files that we are dealing with in the team. First of all, everything related to academic freedom, freedom of scientific research has been very much encouraged to be more selective, to be more strict on this, both on how countries that are associated to Horizon Europe, that they're respecting this value and principle, as well as beneficiaries. So I think, and this has been very much from the extreme left to extreme right, there has been some kind of unity that this needs to be further strengthened. Another point which has been pushed forward by the majority of the MEPs relates to additional support to researchers at risk. And even there are some parties, or there's especially the Greens party, that's even suggesting an incredible amount of money should go to supporting researchers at risk. So what we're currently looking at is how to accommodate this clear feedback from the Parliament that more attention needs to go to this. We are in favor that more attention goes to this. I'm not saying that this will have a clear impact on EURAXESS, although we do know that there are not so many initiatives in working on researchers, supporting researchers at risk. But I would like to see if we can expand the definition of what a researcher at risk is. Currently, we see it very much as researchers. I say generally, it is very much seen as researchers who are under threat outside the European Union, often conflict related, for example, something that happens to large masses, and researchers are one of those that are present. If we can shift that focus of researchers at risk to researchers that are at any kind of risk, and I will give an example, or I will give 4 examples, but I will anonymize. We are receiving quite often, I would say on daily basis, but quite well on weekly basis, researchers approaching us where they are about to publish their research, but there's somebody against it. It might be a controversial topic. They are afraid of backlash on social media. There might be a political backlash, institutional backlash. And what we're seeing a bit more recently is what they want to publish is not favoring some industry players. So imagine you work on ecology and you are assessing impact of some products on the environment. You can understand that these results can have a very big financial and reputational risk. Studies related, a lot of issues related to gender studies. a lot of issues related to democracy, to disinformation. For example, researchers that are working on how does this disinformation spread on some technologies, on a bit from WhatsApp to social media. Because imagine that this can have both a big reputational and a financial impact. And in that case, they are not sufficiently protected, right? So we are seeing what can be done to provide additional support to these researchers, which are at risk, although they, of course, they are not. There are not many. These are individual cases. So that's something that we are currently looking into it, and this might then, of course, have an impact on EURAXESS, and especially if there is some money associated with it, then of course we will look into how this can be connected to EURAXESS, as it is one of the few players that has a tradition of collaborating on researchers at risk. So this is, I would say, kind of couple of key takeaways, at least because research careers from the FP10. The discussions are very much ongoing. It's also very much about widening in transition countries in the Council. The discussions about the budgets are not really taking place yet. The approach is the usual of let's first agree on what the package looks like, what should be supported and how, and then the money discussion. It's a very difficult one, but it is usually tackled towards the end. Then about the ERA Act itself. So as I mentioned last time, would it also support financial? I'm not checking the text. I see there's a question there from Eleanor. This is actually Eleanor is asking, will there be financial support for possible lawsuits? And actually, I think you really got to the point. And legal costs can be quite significant, usually not covered by the grant. And we are looking at this from different angles. Of course, what can the FP10 do? But for example, yesterday I had a meeting with a couple of university representatives where I could see that even universities are considering maybe they should kind of create a fund, a common fund for legal for legal costs, and so that each university, maybe even if researcher, can contribute to this fund, and then in case there's somebody requires legal assistance, there is a certain mass of financial resources and maybe even legal capacities to do so. So this is actually pretty much one of the main costs, but we have to see what is the role of FP10, what can be done by the sector itself, and my guess is going more towards something in between. I see also, Milan, you asked, is this new perspective to research? It is. Are you talking about research freedom? Indeed, it's about freedom of scientific research, academic freedom. Did you think of support that can be provided in those cases? Well, I think that we are currently looking. We also actually doing much more mapping, and we are starting to look. We're starting to map what is the magnitude of cases we are having within Horizon Europe, because this is already a very good starting point. To have a sense of the magnitude of issues. There is some reporting, but it's not that advanced. And what kind of support? Well, it's very much in development. We do see legal costs are usually something which is very much feared. We have seen researchers that receive interesting letters sometimes from tech companies, for example, from their legal departments, and this simply results in self-censorship. So they simply do not, even if they think they are in good position to win the case, they simply don't have the financial resources to fight against such big giants. So the legal costs are there, but it's also about awareness. Researchers don't really know what are their rights and obligations, where they can go to. So it's both about support measures as information about the existence of these support measures. But I think this could be an interesting evolution in how we look at it, and I would definitely welcome this, especially if this is being opened up, because currently we don't really have sufficient support for this type of cases, neither from the EU nor from the sector itself. Okay, noted, Milan, noted. It's interesting to see that this topic is showing that you are showing quite some interest in this topic, and I'm sure colleagues from Sofia will be also very excited. So this is still an FP10. So the ERA Act. So when it comes to the ERA Act, there aren't many updates. There is a lot of work taking place on this. But aren't really major changes because, as I mentioned last year and earlier this year, we have been collecting a lot of information, mobilizing the RNI world to tell us about what are the problems, what they think can work, and as recently we are more kind of working, behind closed doors. So this is where we are. Looking at. It's a lot of legal discussions. It's about also new ideas that are emerging. Some ideas that we see we don't have a legal basis for. Some ideas that exist but are being pivoted because there are some things that we see won't work. So it is very much in. I would say we're towards the end of the construction. I would say it's kind of a situation where we think we have it ready, and then there is some comment that we receive left or right, or some concerns, and then we start kind of changing the dish. But it's a very dynamic file, and especially if you're looking at research careers. So I think in the team we are dealing with, I would say, almost a half of the ERA Act, because there's a pillar on research careers that we are dealing with. There's a pillar on values, and freedom of scientific research is there. And on the front of freedom of scientific research, I would say that's a relatively safe ground. When it comes to research careers, it's quite a challenging environment because a lot of the things that we want to do are also flirting with different areas, are flirting with migration, with employment, with home affairs. So there are so many different things where the discussion becomes very, very quickly legal as well. But we do see there are some concrete elements that we think could be quite useful, and so far are surviving all these different stress tests. In terms of, and I think the update in 1 month time will be similar to this. Let's see. In terms of adopting this, we are still looking at end of the year, so Q4, towards the end of the Q4. This gives us bit time to. There are some procedures we still need to pass. There are some procedures where there are some steps where you really have to. It's a bit like exams at university. You have to convince certain people that you have done your homework well. They're very critical. They pass more than half of the proposals. They fail more than half of the proposals. And then if you don't pass, you go for a second session. And so we have countered some, we have put some buffer there. So we do hope it will be we will have it by the end of the year. But personally, I think what gets out needs to be of good quality rather than doing it quick and dirty, because we're talking about legislation. It can be very dangerous if it is not well done. So that's on the ERA Act. If there are any questions on the ERA Act, and I might not be able to say a lot, but in case there are some questions, I might be able to provide some information. Okay, not on the ERA Act. Good. Then a couple of other points. last time or 2 times ago, we also spoke about something called EU Talenton. You know, it's an initiative that we are running here. It's a contest for researchers between 20 and 35 years old. It happens every 2 years. Last time it was in Katowice. First time is what's in Leiden. It's an initiative. It's a competition that we kind of conceptualized and we are managing internally. But it's been done through the grants entirely. I mean, it is being organized through grants. Long story short, I know many of you have helped spread the word about this contest. And I want to thank you for doing so, for those who have done it, because the call has ended end of April, and we received 1,300 applications. So 1,300 applications for 100 spots. So it is a healthy competitive ratio. And that's it. So we will. It's going to be taking place in Brest in September, but we have a quite good balance in terms of both geographical balance and gender balance. But I just want to thank each national network that has helped spread the word about this contest, because I think this is quite amazing that we have 1,300 applications, and it's not that easy to make an application, so it shows quite a lot. Great. Then one initiative very much close to EURAXESS is the Choose Europe, right? So the Choose Europe, Vera and some other colleagues are working on, I mean, mostly Vera and a colleague from the company are working on how to modernize a bit the homepage. That when you go to EURAXESS, Choose Europe is very much in your face, and it will be strongly connected because this momentum remains there. But recently, you probably have not heard a lot about it, and this mostly has to do with the fact that we are working on Choose Europe conference. So as you know, in May last year, we had the Sorbonne conference, the whole 500 million and everything that has triggered. And over the past months and over the next months, definitely more intensively, we are working on preparing this conference. We are working we're working actually with one hand our cabinet of Ursula, but also we are working with the cabinet of Chancellor Merz, and because it's going to be in Germany. And why I'm saying this is that when the conference will be there, and it's going to be very exclusive, but what is important about the conference is that it's going to be a moment for announcements. It's going to be a moment for announcements both at the EU level and the member state level. In the context of the ERA forum, we will tell EU member states as from when we have a date, etc., because also all the ministers of research innovation are going to be invited. The idea is that we have a lunch meeting there. So we will encourage them also to think on what they can do. From our side, we're also looking at what can be done more, both from funding related things, and if there's funding, we're going to reinvent the wheel. Is ERC, MSCA, either existing or some slightly new initiatives, but we're also looking at non-funding initiatives, and this is quite interesting. And so when we discuss this with ERA forum members, we also point towards the way, Choose Europe, EURAXESS. You can also maybe support EURAXESS a bit better in your national context. They might also come up with something totally different, but I think that is something we want to share with you, because hopefully this will encourage the ministers to think of new things, and this might hopefully have a positive impact on national networks. Still, you asked about when. Well, that's the question I'm asking myself as well. It should be on 5th of May. Then I'm looking at September, October. So I do not expect it is going to be something which will be announced very much in advance. The Sorbonne conference, 5th of May last year, was pretty much organized in 2 weeks. So I hope I think for the sake of our mental well-being, I hope it won't be the case now, but it's going to be after the summer. Who is mainly involved in Germany in organizing this? It is the lead is with the cabinet of the chancellor, with the BMBF. I'm probably it's abbreviation. I'm saying it's spelling it out. That's the one. BMFTR. Exactly. That's it. Thanks, Vitaly. No, that's the one. BMFTR. Well done, Vitaly. So that's it. This could be something quite exciting. And I think like this, I'm going through the main policy updates. I think in the next meeting in June, I think we will have a monthly meeting, because on the 18th, we hope to see you on the 11th floor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually the meeting where we had like a few years ago, where we have windows around. It's I think the only meeting room we have in the building with windows. There, I think it's a good moment also to look a little bit more into this outsourcing of EURAXESS and research awards. I think it would be also good to have an update about the structural policy of the research careers. I think this is something we have not yet informed you about. Not major changes there, but things have changed since evolved since the last BHO meeting. We're also thinking about research management component. So also this is something which is very much in full motion, and knowing that many of you are also wearing a hat of research manager or involved in some of the projects related to research management, but not everyone. So I think that could be quite interesting. And I don't know whether to have we also open it's a 1-day BHO meeting.
Yeah.
So,
but as always, I think it's very crucial to have the input from your side. So this is really your meeting. This is really the opportunity for you to take the time to also discuss with each other. And I know that this element is one of the most crucial aspects of the BHO meeting. So in that regard, again, and as always, you're very welcome to send your suggestions for what should be included in the agenda, as this is something that we, as much as possible, we really formulate according to your needs and what you would like to discuss. So please feel very free to send your suggestions.
And definitely think about something which can be interactive. I think the fact that we are having these monthly meetings, ideally during the BHO meeting, then we don't have to talk so much, because we have been talking every second Thursday of the month, every third Thursday. So think of, and we also do the same, but in case there are some topics, especially the topics that can benefit from having people present in person or those who are joining online, that we can together think about, I think that's quite welcome. They'll be very welcome. But also from our side, we're having some ideas, but please reach out to Vera. All right.
Any other questions on anything that was just discussed? Therese, you had your hand up, but you lowered it. Not sure if. Okay, it's raised again. Okay, Therese, please go ahead.
I don't know if you have any. I was thinking about covering anything about the biennial conference. If you have any update on. I was thinking about the division of seats, if there are any left after the final registration. How is that division of seats done? Just to know if there's any chance of getting any extra seats.
Indeed, that's I see that people are putting thumbs up. I think this is a question that we have also received. So when it comes to the key of distributing the seats, this has been the same as in Katowice, which is very much based pro rata on the number of contact points and service centers. And the difference this year is that the capacity is lower. So in Katowice we had around 200 seats. Then we have 180 seats. And these 180 seats have been distributed according to this way of distributing it, which we think is the best or the least bad way of distributing it. Other ways would be thinking of country's population or number of research, but then they'll have shortcomings. So each way of distributing seats has a shortcoming, and we think this one has the least shortcomings. Then the question is, how will be the remaining seats be distributed, right? First, we want to see what is the magnitude of these remaining seats, and then we are on one hand, we want to give everybody the same chance to claim one of the leftover seats. At the same time, we would also give a bit of a head start to those countries that lost the most seats, to, I would say, limit the damage that they are feeling, and especially the smaller countries, right, which are not that represented, that are not extremely well represented in the overall number. But the exact way of how this is going to be done, it will become communicated to everyone at the same moment. Last time, I think it was first come, first serve kind of thingy, which I'm not sure is always the best way. So now we will see. And anyhow, this is going to be a reserve. I mean, I think what we're probably going to do is we're going to do kind of a reserve list. Imagine we have a reserve list and we have 10 seats left. Then these are the first 10 get it. And then imagine there is a last minute cancellation, then we will kind of go down the list. So the idea is very much to have 180 people there, excluding the commission colleagues, because we are not, we are going on our own budget there.
I also wanted to mention that from a technical perspective, when it comes to the registration form in particular, some of you have experienced that once your country quota is filled, it's no longer to add people who would be part of this extra seat group. So what is happening here from a technical standpoint is that because you are BHOs from a specific country, once you have filled your quota, unfortunately, the system doesn't allow you to technically add more. So for these extra self-funded workshop speakers, for instance, please send me this information separately so that I can add it on my side, because I've consulted our IT developers, and unfortunately, from a technical standpoint, it's not possible to bypass this. So please go ahead and instead send me the same information that you would add normally in the registration form, so that I can then fill it in from my side. Questions?
May I add here something, Vera?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. In regard of Alienor's question regarding the self-funded seats, this option is valid only for speakers.
Yes.
And those speakers that are actually part of the project team. Otherwise, because they could cover this through the project team financing. So otherwise, we do not accept any extra participants that will cover themselves.
Correct. Thank you for pointing that out.
Did I explain it?
Yes, I think it's clear.
Can I just try to understand why? Because I have a tricky situation. I already explained it to Vera. I will not open up about this here. But why? Just to understand, Svetlana. I accept it totally, but I don't see why.
Because we have funding for 180. And we make this exception for speakers that are from the project and that could cover their participation themselves from the project funding. This is not,
Voilà, but Mhm.
this
It's
is
the
not
five.
because, you understand, this is not because we don't want extra participants, but the funding is limited to those numbers.
D'accord, but actually the funding that you don't need to pay for the ones who pay for themselves, so they can pay for a contribution for their meals and would of course cover the travel and accommodation themselves. So I would fully understand if it was like, you know, a limitation regarding space. Huh? I mean, if people are totally crowded in there, this is different. But if it doesn't touch at all your budget and people want to join, it's, yeah.
I understand you, Eleanor. May I explain?
Yeah, sure, please.
The expenses for one participant do not limit to travel and accommodation. You understand?
Yeah, sure.
So
There's also the meals. Yeah,
we have extras that are also invited, keynotes and this kind of stuff. We have extras to the catering as well.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
Catering meals, yeah.
the funding is very limited and strictly closed to these numbers. So for this reason, we cannot extend it enormously. You understand me?
But you mean because you cannot quantify, let's say, the participation fee that would have to be, yeah, like not invented but calculated based on the additional costs. That's it, huh? So you would not ask for a participation fee, because I mean it's too complex to calculate this then. Okay, I just need to have an explanation for someone. Sorry, it's not
I,
that, you know. Yeah.
I understand. And this is maybe here the point for Commission to say, but participation fee was not part of the project planning.
No, I mean, this
Nor
has to be inclusive. It has to be sufficiently inclusive, and it would be weird to ask for fees. But I think we need to see, because when you organize a conference, travel and accommodation is the biggest cost, and if you pay for a room, the room is paid. You don't pay per chair. So and Bulgaria seems to be like Sofia seems to have a lot of capacity. It seems to be quite rich when it comes to what is on offer when it comes to capacity. So let's look at the financials. I think a lot will depend on travel, tickets, accommodation we know, but travel is always a question mark. And then, of course, it is being seen that there is some money left. Then this can go to the catering, and then you take care of the travel and accommodation. So I think that could perhaps something that could be considered. It's the usual conference practice that we see. You will adjust your way according to things where you save money and unforeseen costs that come out of somewhere. But the reality is that the colleagues from that working on the conference, they are having a certain financial envelope, and things have not gotten cheaper over the years. And that's, of course, the reality that they are faced with. But there is the willingness to see as many people come as possible. And then I think depending on what's financially possible, if perhaps catering could be covered and then child accommodation, if you want to have extra people there, I think that could be, because if there's space, if there are seats in the room, it would be unfortunate to leave some empty chairs in the room, given the size of the network and there's willingness of people to be there. But let's see what is possible.
No, but then the only possibility actually would be to count on the remaining seats. Huh? I still got it right here. I mean, I could not encourage now someone to say, okay, it will be a self-funded participation just because this is not foreseen. Huh? Just that I get it clear. And I mean, if there are no seats left, then bon, tant pis for myself, and it's or for the person.
Alinor, I would regarding the self-funded. So I think if you for the fully funded seats, it's a reserve list. Regarding the self-funded seats, this is something that which we have to just have a better look into it.
Yeah. Okay. But no. But I just saw the deadline, and actually, if I have to register, then someone, and then not as self-funded, and then I could just not take someone else. So no worries about that. I now understood that it's somehow too complicated or too short notice. But I just wanted to understand if I got that right with the story with the speakers or participants being self-funded or not. But I think I have a clear picture now, and I will find a solution. Thanks, to both of you for the explanations.
We are just deliberating as we are pivoting and steering along the way. About the deadline, Vera.
Yes, so indeed, some of you also mentioned about deadline for online participation, and also, of course, the question of extending the deadline. I know that this was quite short notice, so it was expected that an extension would be needed. So our proposal is to extend it with a week from now. So I think the original deadline was the 28th, but we will add a week after that to ensure that you can gather all the information that you need from your networks as well.
So, and that's the final extension. That's kind of because a lot of people, so maybe you noticed most of these got extended because we know some people have some issues, technical issues. So I'm just saying the deadline gets extended for 1 week and there is no extension after that. So yeah, you are a warned person is a word too.
There were some other hands as well. Please go ahead.
Yes, can I? Monica here from Poland. Hello. Yes, do you think there will be expression of interest for leading the workshops like it was in the past?
No.
This is something maybe Svetlana or Elisa can answer.
Elisa better, because we agreed with the coordinator to devote a lot of conference space for workshops to developing the project. So Elisa, please.
Yeah, if I may. Yep. In principle, not yet, but when we see the final workshop rearrangement that now we are now working in, if there is some spaces, we'll see also how to cover with the travel and accommodations, like Svetlana was addressing before. But if people are attending and wants to do workshop and there's free spots, I don't see why not. But first we need to finalize our preliminary agenda for that. And if first.
Okay, thank you.
So draft agenda first about the topic that should be discussed, and then of course we should run the show.
But may I add something here? Monica, if you have any idea and it is very relevant, just send us this idea to Elisa, Javi, and my team.
Maybe for the next BHO meeting, think about it. We'll be all together, and then we can see what are those points of common interest. It makes everybody's life easier. Plus, it is kind of showing that the workshops are aligned with where is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking rather about our network members who in the past could do this, if I remember correctly. So I do not have anything specific yet for now, but okay, for the BHO meeting, we can think about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica.
If I may, I want to add something.
Yes.
That's Vera, and if you may, now that we know that the deadline for registration of participants to the conference is extended, as long as you have like kind of a skeleton of the agenda, if it's possible to include it in the website event for registration, because institutions are asking for that in order to. Yep, I know.
Yes, to register for specific workshop. Yes. But this is
no, we're talking not for registration. No, I'm just talking to just a general overview of the agenda of the, the topics, deals, and how because institutions need
Yes, yes,
sometimes,
as a file, yeah.
for internal procedures to decide if they are going or
Right.
not. So yeah, otherwise it's it's a pity to say institutions cannot register because they don't have this.
Yes, indeed, the EURAXESS, the event page in particular, it's very much a living space. So new attachments, new documents will be added as long as the planning proceeds. So please go ahead and ask me about that. And indeed, if you can send me, as we talked about the additional seats and self-funded speakers and so on, indeed that information should be sent to me, preferably in an Excel file with all the relevant information. So thank you.
Thank you,
Any
Vera.
other
Thank you, Lisa.
other hands raised? But the facilitators are basically self-funded, if not part of the quota event. Where am I? Right, so it's hard to motivate them to contribute.
So I think the line to take, so regarding the Carla's question, but again, we're going to discuss this, is that there's no, we have to see how self-funded if will work, if work. So first we want, because for that we need a bit better view on the financials. So it does, we cannot promise for this time that the self-funded will be even an option, because there is an additional cost of them eating. It's very limited. I agree. So that's why we have to look into this. Keynotes or just. Yes. So indeed. So and I think you have seen. I mean, most of you have been in Katowice and in Nantes. The first day especially, it's a rather general thing. I mean, it's open to everyone. We are pushing this. Like when we had the announcement of the revised portal in June 24. So this is very much a moment for everyone. And then as the conference progresses, it gets a bit more EURAXESS exclusive. But indeed, the idea is to have some visuals, that it is that we make a lot of noise about it. I mean, it happens once every 2 years, and it's really much the main gathering of EURAXESS network. So, and anybody in the RNA community that has something to do with it. So definitely, and it's also because we have Annie with us, because she can help us a bit frame how to best communicate about this. So if facilitators are, and then Milan has a question, maybe Svetlana can also help a bit. If facilitators part of the quota, are they fully self-funded? So if you're part of the quota, is for fully funded. That's it.
I mean, the quota is 180 for everyone from the network that cannot pay. Facilitators have another quota if they can cover their participation, and it is very limited, only for the speakers. Then they do not participate in this quota of 180 if they can cover. Am I clear, Milan?
Yep, you're clear now, but because you mentioned project team members, and you referred to speakers as project team members, and you explicitly said that there should be paid from the project, and I mentioned that we don't have this budget in the project, actually. I mean, it's not a problem to redistribute, but I was just saying that we don't have that. And now, now if that's clear, can I ask just about the external speakers? If we can somehow recruit someone from outside the network to co-facilitate some of the workshop, and what are the options for that?
This is another story, and we have to discuss this with also with financials and also with commission. This option to cover external speakers for the workshops. I know what you mean about the entrepreneurship workshop, and I have this in mind.
So yeah.
But this is a single question. It's not for everyone. I mean, not for all the workshops.
So what's the most important now? Fully funded, 180 participants. I know it's difficult, so you have to disappoint a lot of people, but it's important that we have this registration done as quickly as possible, so their flights could be booked as soon as possible, and then from that we will see where we are with the financials, and then, as I mentioned, from the moment there is a euro that becomes available, we will see how can we use it to get more people there. So that's a bit that's going to be a bit the angle here, and there's still quite some time between now and end of October. Not much, but quite some time. It just that's why we are very much focusing on this fully funded 180 participants, because especially of the travel cost. I guess the discussion at that point continues. If there's anything else non-related to the annual conference.
May I ask a question here, because I was raising my hand all the time? Thank you. Just
go ahead.
Thank you. Just to verify that I got it right. So the deadline for registration for all participants will be extended by 1 week. So the new one will be June 4th. Right. This is correct. Okay. The other question is, we were requested to contribute with workshops, and of course the question for us as BHO, as far as I understand, those people who deliver workshops, they will be counted towards our national quota. So there will be no extra seats for workshop contributors.
Correct.
Okay.
For time being, unless if there's budget available, then we will look. But now, budget for 180 people, regardless of which hat that they are wearing, as long as they are fully funded.
But this is a crucial question for us, you know, because like maybe we can discuss it now, because it was already mentioned several times. You need kind of to motivate people. And of course, for us, it is also an important point to say, look, if you are active, if you contribute, there is a kind of asset also for you. And we can encourage people this way. So it would be a good thing, in my opinion, to dedicate those extra seats available to people who are actively contributing to the conference. So I would like to request this. And it would be nice, I understood from Elisa that they are working hard on the agenda, but it would be nice to have a template for drafting the workshops, because I believe you will be distributing them among different countries somehow. So just to know how many you need, for example, from Germany, it would be helpful already at this stage.
Okay, I mean, noted. And I see there has been some applause and thumbs up for this idea. Let's see how many. I don't think available seats will be enough to, you know, cover workshop leaders, disappointed countries who have lost a lot of seats. So let's see what is out there. But I think it doesn't make sense that to have a workshop leader that is self-funded. I mean, clearly.
Well, we agree on that, Slaven. Thanks a lot. I can live with this answer, so I know how to proceed now. I will just count them towards our quota. Okay, thank you.
Important topic. Everybody's looking forward to go to Sofia, and that's very positive. Alienor, you have still your hand raised. I know it's because. Yeah.
Thanks. Just this one goes more or less to Elisa. Could you somehow try to make sure with the first draft of the program and else that all types of researcher, let's say career development supporters, find something which is of interest for them. Because I would have been super glad, but it was not like this the last year neither, that we see the program relatively far in advance. I mean, ideally, before, you know, we have to take care of allocating the seats rightly, maybe also depending on the interests, of course, of our network members we want to reward. And if the program is not out there, it's maybe a bit harder to find the right profiles to send. And so if we could try, you know, to make it as broad as possible so that HR representatives find their stuff, representatives of doctoral schools and research managers, and also that would be great. Just this kind request. Thank you.
Yes, Eleanor, this is what we were now working hard. Maybe we are not going to be finalizing the whole topics of workshop because we need to leave the door open for maybe more to come later, but definitely we're trying to cover many aspects of EURAXESS. Cover already in the project proposal, you all know that. So, and we will try to distribute this as soon as possible and put it in this, I mean, and this is why we also asked Vera to put it in this event, so you can also use it to promote it within your network for diverse type of research career support staff within the institutions. Totally agree, we're working hard on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elisa.
Thank you all for sharing your concerns. I think that helps us to set the priorities right. So we will discuss with Elisa, with Svetlana, with all the teams involved, what can be done given the constraints that are there. Okay, good. Then
I think that's it for today. We're a bit over time. So we will finish here, but indeed, what we can say now, of course, again, extension of 1 week. And then when it comes to the BHO meeting, you will also be receiving the official invitation at the start of next week. And if any questions about that, feel free to contact me.
Yeah, so that's indeed. I mean, this is short term. So in less than 1 month, we are together here and pay close attention to the reimbursement rules of this 18th of June BHO meeting. It is Commission rules. It's what we have to apply. We don't have much choice, and they might not always be extremely simple. So pay attention to the letter that you get. That will tell you about what works for you in your situation, and then if there are questions, reach out to us. Yeah.
Good. So in that sense,
I will say one more positive thing before we wrap up, because I think I'm very surprised that nobody has asked about the proposal evaluation, because everybody is now talking about BHO conference, assuming that it will take place, and for it to take place, the proposal needs to pass. I think this shows that everybody has blind trust in the proposal. Now, official information will be shared through the official channels, but having observed the evaluations, having discussed with REA just before, it looks very good. It's a very good proposal. Congrats to the coordinators, everyone involved. So that's it has been one of, I wouldn't say it has been one of the better proposals evaluators have seen in a very long time. And that's quite an achievement, because it's not the very straightforward project. So congrats on that. Formalities will follow. The grant agreement will start soon, etc., etc. But so far, evaluation went well. The other boxes have been ticked. So yeah, but official letters will follow. So yeah, to end on a positive note.
Good. That wraps things up. So we will see you on the 18th of June, either in Brussels or online. So we're very much looking forward to welcoming you here then. And we will, of course, update you with any relevant information until then. So thanks again for joining and for staying online for so long. A lot of information. Have a good rest of the day.
Can I?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Sorry.
Bye bye.